Hello, I'm here this evening with Hollie Singer from Adwaith. Hi, Hollie.
Hello, thanks for having me.
Hollie, you've had a tremendous few years and we're hugely pleased to have you with us here today. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your band, Adwaith, please?
Yeah, of course. I'm Hollie and I sing and I play guitar in Adwaith. I've got Gwen, and Anthony on the bass and then Hilla Owen on the drums. We're all from Carmarthen, little old Carmarthen in West Wales. We are signed to Libertino Records, who are also based in Carmarthen. It's a very musical little town, it's Carmarthen. I'm very lucky to have come from there. So we've been very lucky really in our 4 or 5 years that we've been together. We've had loads of amazing opportunities. We've played in Russia, we've played in Italy, we've played in Canada. We sing in Welsh, so the fact that Welsh language music is getting all the way over to Russia and all the way over to Italy is incredible.
Yeah, you've become quite at the forefront of the Welsh-speaking music scene, and also a real role model for female artists as well in the South Wales area in particular and beyond. You're also a student at USW, so can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, of course. My time in USW has been so much fun. I've actually loved the course. I've learned a lot production-wise because I was a bit clueless with that before I came to uni. So now that I'm in uni, I've learned how to use Logic and I've got like a little home set up on the go now. I've met loads of like-minded people. I've had some great jams. And I'm like friends for life, people on my course.
You're studying BA Popular Music and you're into the 3rd year, aren't you? And what's been the main, I mean, obviously you've touched on the skills that you've learned there production-wise and the fact that you can collaborate with people on your course, and there's such a talented bunch, and I know it's quite a big course and there seems to be all sorts of fantastic creative happenings coming out of that course over the last few years, and it's a really good time for music students at USW in South Wales, just breaking through left, right and centre. What's been the real highlights for you during the 3 years, and the real value of making that decision to go from being a musician to actually just studying a degree in popular music?
I feel like my highlight of the course so far is probably the end of year gig that we did in Porter's last year. It was so much fun. Literally had the best night. Just seeing everyone's progress and seeing everyone's like shows they put on, like it was just incredible. And I feel like studying music is just broadened my horizons a lot. I've made some great contacts. It's been incredible.
Good. So, when I look at Adwaith and what you've achieved in such a short space of time, almost one of the things I've read about your band is, people have discovered you. It's almost like the industry have come to you, to Adwaith, and that's so refreshing because promotion and flogging yourself in all of those ways to get your music heard, it's challenging, it's hard, and it might not, I'm sure it has been very hard from your perspective, and it hasn't just happened overnight with the industry just coming to you, but from an outside point of view, you've really gained a huge amount of attraction from many different surprising areas, old and new and established in the music industry. And before we delve into that a little bit more, be great to see why everybody's so excited about Adwaith and listen to some of your music. So we're going to cut to a clip now of you playing live. Amazing. You played at a few festivals as well, haven't you? And I did notice that you were due to play Green Manor again.
No, we played it 2 years in a row. So we played it last year, and then we played it the year before. But we weren't supposed to play like 2020, just
No.
gone.
Right. So has it been? Have you been missing festivals, and have you got any major events exciting to share with us coming up in the distant future when things get back to normal?
Massively missing festivals. That's literally what I live for. Honestly, it's what keeps me going throughout the rest of the year. Yeah, we've had some exciting opportunities, even like through lockdown. We played a few online festivals. So we did Eurosonic, and we're doing South by Southwest, which is coming out soon online. Yeah, really excited for that.
You're working with Focus Wales as well, aren't you?
Yeah, we've been working with Focus Wales. Andy, who runs it, he's a great guy, and he's actually how we got like pretty much all of our gigs like abroad. Like it was through him and through Focus Wales. He's lovely.
That's fantastic. I mean, going back to what we were saying before we went to the clip, we were talking about the industry coming to you, and I think probably the most notorious example of that is James Dean Bradfield. Can you tell us about that? What happened there?
Crazy. So we put the album out. No, I don't think actually we didn't even put it out. I think we just sent it to them just before it was going to be released. And they came back and they said they really liked what they heard in James Dean Bradfield. We were trying to be really cheeky. We were like, "Oh, can we support you? Is that a thing? Can we come and play with you?" And they were like, "No, sorry, we've got plans for the tour, blah blah blah." But they're like, "Oh, but we will do a remix of one of your tracks." And we were like, "Oh." Yeah, so it's crazy the fact that, outside of our little circle, the first people / person to hear it was James Dean Bradfield and the rest of the Manics.
So exciting.
Yeah, I know.
And when we're talking about the album, we're talking about your album Melon that won the Welsh Music Award in 2019. An incredible piece of music, really consistent from start to finish. And as you've told me before, it's quite a story throughout that album. Can you tell us a little bit about the making of the album, and then what it was like then getting that huge accolade in the Welsh Music Prize?
So with regards to making the album, we worked with Stefan Pringle, who is a producer from Cardiff. He's produced all of our stuff and is still producing for us. He's been amazing. He just really understands our sound and where we want to go with our music. Yeah, so we recorded the album over the space of the majority of the album, we recorded it over the space of like a week in a residential studio in mid Wales. But a few of the other tunes on there, we literally wrote when we were about 15. And I think that's why we were so like, what? When we won the Welsh Music Prize, is the fact that, some of these songs we wrote when we were young teenagers, and the fact that it like connects with people and it resonates with people. The fact that it's in Welsh as well. I don't know, it's just an out of body experience when we won that award. Literally, I felt like Mariah Carey or something. There's so many people like, "Can I have an interview with you? Can I have an interview with you?" Yeah, it was amazing.
I can tell that from all of the wonderful photographs that just literally seem to flood every feed that I have at that time, and still there's been a longevity to it, and it's been a wonderful wonderful story, because at that point you were just in your first year on the popular music course. So how have things changed for you, Hollie, since that happened, since you got the Welsh Music Award 2019? How have things moved on?
I feel like it's given us a bit of confidence. Not that we didn't have any confidence at the start, but like a bit more to be like, oh, okay, with this second album, it's given us just like that foot up, if you know what I mean. but we've definitely developed as musicians since the first album. So yeah, really excited to see what we can create. Well, what we have created and how it's going to sound when it all gets mastered. Yeah.
Yeah, and I've noticed that, you must be getting a lot more opportunities come to you since that's happened as well. As you've already kind of brushed upon, uh, being in demand for interviews, and it seems that you've been in demand for lots of different activities, which must be really exciting and a challenge to juggle that with your final year studies.
Yeah, it gets a bit stressful sometimes, but
Mm,
I am a very relaxed person, so I don't really get stressed that often.
no.
So when I do, you know that it's hectic.
Oh, so we're talking about other organisations in Wales that you're working with, Focus Wales, Green Man. You also have been very involved with BBC Horizon.
Yeah, Horizons. We were one of the 12 artists that they picked back in, I think it was 2018. 2018, I think. Yeah, but yeah, they've been great help for us. They're just great contacts to have, like Bethan Alvin and Simon, who works with Horizons as well. He's great. He does a lot of Libertinos, like visual stuff online, and he's been helping us with like content online and stuff as well. So yeah, I just met some great people through Horizons.
So it's a program that you would recommend for other emerging musicians to engage with. And I mean, did it actually really, do what it says on the tin? Was it quite a launch pad for you, did you feel, in the South Wales area, coming from Carmarthen?
Yeah, they bought my first amp, my first and only amp. We were gigging for about 2 years with I didn't have an amp and Gwen didn't have an amp, so we were just whenever we played a gig, we'd be like, "Hi, can we borrow your amp, please?" But yeah, so obviously that has helped us tremendously. They bought us amps and they bought me a guitar as well with the funding that we applied for.
That's
Um,
fantastic. So it's kind of that practical help as well as the marketing and the network that you were able to access.
when we were on Horizons as well, they took us to Sony in London and we had like a meeting where we like showed our music and chatted to um like what are they called? PR people.
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, A&R
Oh,
representatives.
that's it. That's it. You got it. But yeah, that was really helpful and really interesting to talk to them actually.
Yeah, I remember that time because it's funny, we were around the corner in Warner in Kensington, and Beth and I were laughing that we were so close to one another, and yet so far away. And that's fantastic to think, all of those people from South Wales and Cardiff are flooding those record label offices. Yeah. I noticed as well, Holly, in since lockdown and just in 2021, I think that you've been doing some short pieces for Horizons around, um, playing tuition to play to your songs. Do you want to tell us about that? Because that looks like a wonderful little project.
Yeah, that was a great thing to do. Horizons actually approached me and Gwen. So there's one of her doing a bass tutorial and one of me doing the guitar tutorial on the same song. Uh, yeah, it's one of like the easiest songs that we've written. It was one of the first ones that we ever wrote. I literally feel like anybody could play that song. So I thought it was a great one to do. Yeah.
You had a good response to that.
Yeah, no, to be fair, a few people have messaged me and said that they saw it and they enjoyed it. Yeah.
So, in terms of like Adwaith's creative writing process, and as you touched on there, some of your songs are quite simple. How do you go about writing your songs? And the more experience that you've become, what do what tips or inside nuggets of wisdom do you have in terms of? I know it's not formulaic, but how does all of that work?
Well, for us, um, we jam when we're all together. A song can come from anything really. Come from a drum beat or come from a bass riff. We can just work on that adding layers and layers and stuff. But sometimes like one of us brings a whole song to practice and then we can add to it. Another thing that we've done recently is like, because with my band, I'm here in Cardiff, Gwen's in West Wales in Carmarthen, and then our drummer Hila, she lives in London, so obviously it's hard for us to get together and jam nowadays. But we started making like collaborative playlists of things that we like, that we want to show each other, and then that's been really helpful as well with like inspiration.
Yeah, sounds good, because there's so much good music coming out. I mean, it's been a really productive time. The label that you're on, Libertino, we were talking with Griff just this week, and he was saying how productive the label's been during lockdown, and just the number of singles that they've put out over the last year. Are you finding that musical creative community is a real kind of feeding ground for Adwaith?
Yeah, definitely. Without Libertino and without Griff, I don't think we would even be half as successful as we have been. He's literally just taken all the hard work and like promotion and planning and stuff. He's basically does all of that for us, and we're forever grateful, because the three of us are literally drips. We are. If it wasn't for Griff, we owe him the world.
Oh, and that's why, that brings me on to what you're doing this weekend, which is a kind of wonderful celebration of Libertino, and also just pulling together the kind of scene that's happening right now in South Wales, and the fit and the connectivity between the university and Libertino, because we also have a music tutor who's also signed to Libertino, which is Matthew Evans with the band The Keys. And just tell us about what you're doing this weekend as part of Immersed Festival, and how it feels.
Yeah, so Immersed Festival is literally, feels like my baby. Well, my course's baby. We've been working so hard on it for the past however long, 4 months or something like that. Yeah, so it's an online festival in aid of Teenage Cancer Trust. It'll be streamed this weekend. It's going to be celebrating local acts in Wales, most of them from Cardiff, which is lovely. It's great to give a platform to all the amazing artists in Wales. And it's just something exciting and a bit of hope for the industry, I think, especially here in Cardiff, because it's all a bit grey and gloomy, like live music wise with venues and stuff. But yeah, it's going to be amazing. So please tune in.
I feel like it's a huge beacon of hope at the moment. And it's just gaining more and more momentum as we get nearer to the weekend. So what can people expect from the Libertino? You're curating a Libertino stage, aren't you, on the Sunday?
Yeah.
Who's playing, and what's it going to look like?
So we've got Papadwal, Los Blancos, us, Adwaith, Keys, Bandicoot. Is there anyone else? No, I think that's it. Yeah, it's 5 of us.
There's such a strong lineup.
Yeah. Bandicoot is really exciting because they've only very, very recently been signed to Libertino, and they are great. I've been following Bandicoot for years now, since I was in college, and they're from Swansea, and they've only just, like I said, they've only just been signed, and they've got a whole new set of new tunes, and they sound brilliant. Their stage presence is incredible. So yeah, we don't want to miss them.
As part of that, I know that Griff's also doing a talk, isn't he?
Mm-hmm.
To introduce the stage, and I think that's going to be great for people to get more of a feel for kind of what's going on. It's a bit of a Libertino movement, isn't it? You're going to be taking over.
That's great. I'm glad that that's the case, because Libertino started from the ground up, basically, with us as a band. We started from the ground up with Libertino, and the fact that they're doing so well, it's
They deserve every success that comes their way. Absolutely, and we're all very excited about it, because to see things happening here in South Wales, and just the sheer amount of talent that we've got it's a great time, and I'm excited for how that's going to work out over the next few years for all of you, you know, and yeah, constantly new bands coming into the bottom of it, like Bandicoot, and just seeing how excited Griff is about that.
Yeah, he's like a little child. Christmas when he hears things he likes, music that he likes.
That's what it's all about, though, isn't it? So I noticed as well in 2021, you have been awarded or managed to gain the PPL Momentum Fund. We've talked about your first album, the Welsh Music Prize winning Melon. Go and buy it, it's really, really good. And how you've been making a new album and concentrating on that since that time, and now you've got support from the PPL. Can you just tell us all about that and your second album, and what's it called, Hollie?
I don't know if I'm allowed to tell.
Yeah, I knew you were going to say that.
I found out before this if I was allowed to tell you or not, but I'm gonna not tell you that just in case. But yeah, it's been recorded. It's currently being mixed. We recorded it back in October. Yeah, back in October, in a residential studio, the same place that we recorded Melon. And we're just so excited to hear it and have it on a vinyl in front of us. It's got, like, I'm trying to put it under a genre, but it's quite hard to do that, to pinpoint it. We have lots of different inspirations for this album, as well as the first one, to be honest. Yeah. So this, with the PPL Momentum Fund, we're lucky to receive it after we recorded the album. So the PPL Momentum Fund is going to go towards music videos and pictures, and it's going to go towards promoting it. Yeah, and getting like physical copies and stuff done as well.
That's fantastic. A huge, you know, achievement to have that in your hands after, you know, a long time really probably has passed now since your first album, in how much you've grown kind of musically and creatively. I remember you told me that you were experimenting with different instruments for this album.
Yeah, ridiculous amount of instruments. We've you know, Gwen, our bassist, she has this strange collection of instruments that she finds in the local cash generator in Carmarthen. So we've got like this Chinese instrument, I think it's called like a zurang or something.
Oh.
So we've been using that. We've got this Turkish kumbuch, it's another stringed instrument. We had an accordion. We had loads of different weird stuff in the studio. We had a baby sitar as well.
Oh, I love the sitar. I can see that sitting in your sounds really well. And you know, you're right, your first album did have lots of influences that came through. And is there a dominant kind of theme thread through the second one? Like, I'm looking for like little hints now of
It's
what.
quite psychedelic. It's quite like kraut rock, if you know what I mean.
I'm going to soon. When is it out?
So it's going to be before summer. The first single is going to be dropped in March, and then continuously then until I think it might be June.
Wow.
Yeah.
So lots to look forward to. Okay, so before we leave you, Hollie, what advice and tips have you got for young people who, you know, are really, really inspired and making that kind of lifestyle choice to invest their time into music, and, you know, want to connect and go forward, and especially during these times, you know, what can you share?
Reach out to people that you think are good connections. Yeah, and plan as well. Planning is essential. Plan releases, when you're going to drop things, do you know what I mean? Music videos, and when you're allowed to gig again, you know, plan single gigs, like single release gigs, that is essential really to keep on top of when you're going to release things, when you're going to promote them. And also, yeah, just go up and talk to people, because I spent too long being shy in gigs, not speaking to people that I should have, because you never know who you're going to meet. Because that's actually how we're signed to Libertino. As Griff came to one, I think it was our second ever gig, and he, like, we were speaking to him, we didn't even know who he was, and then we realised afterwards. Yeah, you just speak to people and make connections.
Good. Okay, Hollie Singer, thank you so much for your time. Good luck with the album. Good luck with Immersed. And yeah, fantastic to see you. Thank you.